And so, ladies and gentlemen, we move to the Leonardo da Vinci, the Salvador Mundi, the masterpiece by Leonardo of Christ the Saviour, previously in the collections of 3 kings of England. At 90 million, 160 might take it. At 150 million, many places still. 160 is bid, 200. 190 is bid, 200 million is bid. At 250 million is bid. You could be 290, Alex. I thought so. 300 million. 370 million. Back to Francois' client at $370 million, ladies and gentlemen. 400 million. Leonardo Salvador Mundi selling here at Christie's. $400 million is the bid, and the piece is sold.
And there went the so-called Lost Da Vinci as the most expensive artwork ever sold. Salvador Mundi was sold for nearly $500 million in an auction by Christie's in 2017 to a mysterious buyer, which later came out to be no other than the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. But the question remains, was the painting actually an original Da Vinci? Many Leonardo experts question whether the painting has more than a few brushstrokes by him, and those doubts have ramped up ever since. And more importantly, where is the world's most expensive painting now? Most observers agree that it's likely stashed in the Middle East, but some have speculated that it's stored in the tax-free zone in Geneva, or even on bin Salman's $500 million yacht. Salvador Mundi is arguably the most controversial painting in the art world, but those controversies in the art market are nothing new. Art is used for a wide range of purposes these days, from personal pleasure to tax avoidance, all the way to money laundering. This is the first video of our 3-part series, where we uncover the inner workings of the secretive art market. But before we do that, welcome to Financial Interest, where you will learn everything you need to know about money and investing. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. In 2005, a Salvador Mundi believed replica was auctioned at the St. Charles Gallery in New Orleans. It had been highly overpainted to the degree of looking like a replica, and it was characterized as a wreck, dark and depressing, before its restoration. The painting was purchased for $1,175 by 2 art experts. The team thought that there was a chance that this low-quality piece may be Leonardo's long-lost original. A painting worth more than the seller realizes is called a sleeper. Salvador Mundi, a portrait of Jesus, was the sleeper to end all sleepers. When Alex Parrish, a self-described sleeper hunter, saw it on the website of the New Orleans auction house, he immediately snapped it up. He joined forces with a dealer named Robert Simon, and they commissioned a noted conservator, Diane Modestini, to examine the painting and begin its restoration. The painting was severely damaged, which was one of the reasons why it was sold for such a low price. She spent years restoring the painting, and towards the end is when the miracle or the madness or some combination of the two started happening. The team and Modestini brought in 5 authorities from London's National Gallery to examine the painting. Several of them felt that the painting was a genuine Leonardo, rather than painted by him only in part or by a follower of his. The genuineness would add several zeros to any future sale price. That interaction was a major turning point, which resulted in the painting being controversially displayed as an authentic Leonardo later that year at the National Gallery in London. Most experts today agree that the painting was probably produced by his assistants in Leonardo's workshop, where he added some finishing touches, which was a common practice at the time. But the uncertainty is key to the appeal of every version of the story. Nonetheless, the exhibition went a long way towards legitimizing a shaky attribution. Since the restoration was complete and the authenticity and credibility around the painting started getting established, there was only one last missing piece before the team achieved arguably the highest return on investment in history. It was time to sell it. Simon felt like they could get a price in excess of $200 million. Although several museums were interested, That kind of money was too much to splash on a painting which might not even be an original Leonardo. Struggling to find the right buyer for a few years, in 2013, some colorful characters entered the game. Yves Bouvier, a Swiss art dealer, bought the painting from the New York dealers for $83 million. And the next day, he sold it for a whopping $127.5 million to a billionaire. Yes, you heard it right, the next day. He sold it to a Russian oligarch named Dmitry Rybolovlev, which a year later would sue Bouvier for defrauding him over several art dealings. He claimed that Bouvier was supposed to act as his art advisor, helping him build a $2 billion art portfolio. He was clearly upset with the 50% commission he had paid for the Leonardo, which was a hefty $43 million. After years of legal battle, the case just closed last year by the Swiss authorities. The most noting moment of the trial was when Bouvier said his exploits on the lost Leonardo were just common business practices in the art world. He said, you buy low and sell high. 4 years later, short for cash, Rybolovlev puts the extensive art collection Bouvier assembled him for auction, which also included the infamous Salvador Mundi. Soon the painting was on its way to Christie's. Along with Sotheby's, Christie's is the biggest auction house for high-end art. The sale itself was a highly staged drama. It started with a marketing video that showed not the painting, but the faces of the observers. Most of them were ordinary people, but one of them was Leonardo DiCaprio, looking reverently at the image as if he saw Christ himself. The New York Times soon revealed the anonymous buyer to be acting on behalf of bin Salman, a discovery that catapulted the painting into the geopolitical realm. At the time, bin Salman was trying to burnish Saudi Arabia's image by loosening a few restrictions. Most art observers thought that Salvador Mundi would be the centerpiece of a new museum. Although it came very close, the painting was never displayed. The Louvre Museum in Paris very much wanted to include the painting in its grand exhibition to celebrate Leonardo's 500th-year anniversary in 2019. Bin Salman himself visited President Emmanuel Macron in Paris, while the loan was dangling in balance. The New York Times confirmed rumors that the Louvre wouldn't accept bin Salman's demands, that his painting would be displayed in the same room as the Mona Lisa, giving it near equal status. According to the Louvre's studies of the painting and the French-Saudi negotiations, one of the sources said that the Louvre concluded that Leonardo merely contributed to the painting, but that bin Salman would only approve the loan if Salvador Mundi was labeled as an authentic Leonardo. The source also said that he advised the government that exhibiting under the Saudi conditions would be like laundering a piece that cost $450 million. The laundering in this case is not from a money, but from an authenticity perspective. So where's the world's most expensive painting now? Probably somewhere in Saudi Arabia, hidden away by the order of the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. No one in the art world knows for sure where the painting is. Most observers agree that it's likely stashed in the Middle East, but some have speculated that it is stored in a tax-free zone in Geneva or in his $500 million yacht. The controversial story of the lost Da Vinci is a perfect summary of the various questionable business practices of the art world. The $67 billion art market is highly opaque and unregulated. The secrecy of the market structure is often enjoyed and abused by a small number of market participants. The current state of the market makes it fairly easy for these market participants to manipulate prices, and that combined with high potential tax benefits tied to those manipulated prices makes the art market prone to a lot of questionable dealings. Some legal, some less so. Now, what's legal and what's illegal in the art market can get pretty blurry, especially when shell companies and free trade ports come into play. These vehicles are sometimes used for tax fraud and money laundering.